One of the things that I enjoyed the most in this Peru trip was actually taking not just a group, but taking this group. Was the first time to take a all male group, uh, a family per se, father and sons and friends. My son came with me and a friend. So this group of 7 guys going on a trip was pretty amazing, was pretty good. Another thing that I liked also is that we were able to stay at the church. I was offered to be able to stay somewhere else that may be more comfortable, maybe more to our standards of living here in the States. But I told the pastor that I'd rather stay at the church because I wanted them to have the experience to live with the people in the community, to have fellowship with the church, to be able to see the day to day life in where they're going to be serving. And I think that worked out great. You know, you plan these trips and we have an idea what we're going to do. Originally, we were just going to go and paint a building, help paint the auditorium from the church, and have a basketball tournament and bring some gift to some children. And that was it. Well, as missions happen, things change. And God had other plans. And I have to say, I thank God that the group really adjusted well to the change of plan. We not only end up painting, but there were some wall building and spackling and putting up a scaffolding, and it was like pretty primitive for our standards, but they rolled with the punches, and that was good. Then there was so much sport activity. We thought that the basketball was gonna be just on the weekend when we got there. The same day, the very next day, I say, that we got there, the guys start playing soccer, basketball, end up playing and volleyball. Everyone in the community wanted to have a chance to play with them. And I think the highlight was, one of the highlights was going into and visit the children home. You know, we prepared these gifts, or the guys prepared these gifts for each one of the kids. But watching them open up their bags, take their clothing or whatever was in there, the expression on their faces, they went right away and put it on, changed their clothes, so proud. And then, I mean, we go to McDonald's, you and I, we go to McDonald's anytime we want. But we thought, something nice is to take them to have a meal at McDonald's. We didn't know they'd never been to McDonald's. There are kids like, some were young, maybe 8 and 9, but there were others that they were like 12 and 13 or even 14, never been to McDonald's. And we took them to this mall. It was a hike, took us about an hour or more to get to McDonald's, and traffic was terrible. And then when we got to this huge mall, and the look on their faces, and when they sat at the food court, and we brought four family package with burgers and fries. Oh my goodness, the expression on their faces, that was so great. That was so great. During their time there, we're able to share the gospel. One of the things that we did is that we had one guy from Peru, he actually from Venezuela, join our team and work with us. He was with us the entire time, the entire week. And the guy were able to impact and influence his life to this day. Whenever he talked to me, he always mentioned things that he spoke with members of our team, or he heard. He said was definitely an experience that changed his life. His name is Alejandro. Please pray for him. It was good to be part of a service in Spanish and different, and I know the guys, they love that.
The highlight of the Peru trip for me was being able to see the Sunday service and how, even though it was in a different language, people still worship God the same wherever you are in the world.
The most impactful part of the Peru trip for me was experiencing the new culture and being a light for non-believers in a different part of the world.
The most impactful part of the Peru trip was seeing how little these people had, yet how much and how happy they were to give what they did have.
One of the most impactful things for me to see in Peru was the disparity in the living conditions from some of the poorer neighborhoods to some of the more embellished neighborhoods. But it was also cool to be part of a trip where we could use God's Word and something as simple as a basketball to minister to people.
Hey guys, this is Caleb Carpenter. I think the thing that impacted me the most about our trip to Peru was seeing the amount of opportunity that there was with the Venezuelan refugees, and it really just taught me that we need to be reaching out to the least of these in our community, and that there's just such a great opportunity there for us.
If I had to say what impacted me the most about our trip to Peru, it would have to be the people. How they were able to do so much with so little. That they didn't even complain that they had so little, but they were still able to do so many things for the glory of God. So that would be it for me.
For me, was preaching at the basketball court. To have all those people there, all the neighbors, all the community, just in silent listening. There were some in the back trying to disturb, but the people that were in the front, they were like into listening to the presentation of the gospel. And again, that's for me, that was my highlight. Love that part, because you never know who the Spirit touched and where that seed is gonna go. We plan every month, every year, for vacation, for study, for work, for business. And we plan these things and we prepare for these things. And we are intentional about these things. Would you consider also be intentional in planning going on a mission trip? You don't have to become a full-time missionary, but I tell you, as a believer, that experience, that going out of the comfort zone, coming out of the shell, and experiencing the raw impact of the gospel in a place that is different, a different language, different culture, it does something to you spiritually that it just marks you. So I want to encourage you. Plan, yes. Be deliberate, be intentional. Maybe with your family. Tell your kids, you know what? We're going to go on a mission trip as a family. That's something that I believe will be a good memory for you and for them. So I want to encourage you. Let's be intentional about missions in our life and with our families.